Munchkins and viewers alike, it's me Munchie. Not too long ago I was on Craigslist and I spotted a few questionable ads that brought me to make this video today. That would be people rehoming hamsters because they no longer could take care of them. So one in particular ad that caught my eye was a person trying to rehome their hamster after having it for exactly 1 month. Wow. And this is not the first person that I've seen to try to rehome their hamster after a couple months of originally taking on the responsibility of owning a hamster. Lots of people tend to impulse buy these hamsters, and unfortunately the hamsters have to suffer and have to be shifted around and or moved because people either simply don't want to take care of the hamster anymore, don't have money to take care of the hamster anymore, or you can probably guarantee that this hamster was unfortunately an impulse buy and they did not understand what they were getting into. So today's video is all about how easy is it to care for a hamster. Now, just letting you know, the words easy, I do not agree with here. However, people are probably going to be searching how easy is it to take care of a hamster, so it's just a genetic term. Hamsters can range anywhere from beginner to intermediate, in my opinion. And if you don't do your research, then sometimes these hamsters, who might seem easy at first, might actually be hard depending on your lifestyle. So stay put if you would like to know more about hamsters and their care routines. I'll be telling you guys about how to take care of your hamster weekly, daily, monthly. I'll also tell you guys about the cost as well as how much interaction you will need for your hamster in order to get your hamster socialized and bonded with you. Just letting you guys know, not all animals are going to instantly bond with you, and not all animals are going to just bond with you. Some hamsters, like my little Roboroski down here in his little 27.5 gallon bin cage from Target, he is very skittish because of his handlers at PetSmart. Unfortunately, they scared him so severely, I cannot even handle him, and it's been several months since owning him with no progress. So unfortunately for him, he is always going to be a little scared and skittish hamster. But he is my absolutely adorable watch hamster, and I love my Hannibal with all my heart. So let's get into the daily care of owning a hamster. So your daily routine with owning a hamster is to check the water bottle to make sure that there's enough water in there, and to make sure that your water bottle and nozzle is distributing water correctly. Sometimes, depending on which water bottle, might not even dispense water. So make sure it is, otherwise your hamster can get dehydrated very quickly. And next, make sure your hamster's wheel is running and or is propped upright. Unfortunately for hamsters, if you have a base wheel that's not on a wired cage, then your hamster could push it and end up knocking it over, and sometimes your hamster will position it weird and can't even get to it. So make sure to check on this either morning or night, but make sure you're at least doing this daily to make sure your hamster is able to run on their wheel. Next, there is the food. Now, food can be distributed every day, every other day, depending on what your hamster is doing. Sometimes your hamster will just graze in its food bowl. Other times your hamster will literally take its food back to its den and hide it in there. So if you're noticing your hamster is taking its food back to its den, you could probably wait a couple days before filling up your food dish again, just because your hamster will not eat all that food within 1 day, and to keep track of how often you're feeding your hamster too, just because you don't want to forget when you feed your hamster. So it's just a good reminder to feed them daily or every other day. And this is a good time to check to see if any chew toys need to be replaced if they are chewed up too much, and to just clean out the mess that they leave behind, and to replace the chew toy with a new chew toy. Now, for every few days, you can supply your hamster with different treats and fruits and vegetables. For hamsters, treats should be given every 2 times a week, and for fruits and veggies every 3 times a week or more. And then the weekly spot cleaning routine is to go in your cage, and if you have a Syrian hamster, find the corner of which your hamster likes to urinate and to go potty in, and to just scoop that up with a dustpan, a little tiny dustpan, and or just wear a glove, put your hand in and scoop it out yourself and put it in a bag. You don't want to have that ammonia build up in your bin cage or wire cage, just because they do not like breathing it in and it could cause respiratory issues. So make sure you are at least spot cleaning weekly. As for smaller hamsters like dwarfs, they just like to go anywhere. So if your dwarf hamster is actually a very clean hamster, look for a corner or look for a spot which they like to urinate in. This could be around their their den. Like my previous foster hamster, she liked to go right outside her den and then run right back inside her den. So it was quite easy to know where the ammonia smell was coming from. And if you have a specific type of bedding like KT, you can see when the urine is yellow on the bedding. And if you have any color dye beddings like Carefresh, sometimes it's harder to see, but sometimes you can smell it, which is nice. Well, actually, no, it's not nice, but it's nice when you can tell where it is. And sometimes the bedding will look a lot wetter and you can tell right away, oh, that's where my hamster likes to go. And also when you're doing this, you can put more bedding in case you take out too much bedding. So make sure your hamster at least has 3 to 4 inches for he or she to burrow in. And at this time too, if your hamster wheel develops any sort of yuck like urine or feces, make sure to clean that out weekly and or when it's dirty. Now the monthly routine is one that people either like or dread, depending on if you like to make your cage look nice and new again, or if you dread the thought of cleaning it. So each 3 to 4 weeks, depending on your size of cage and or habitat, you need to completely remove all the bedding, get rid of any chew toys that are completely chewed up, replace those chew toys, and or move chew toys and hides out of the bin and or habitat, and then completely wipe it down with water and or vinegar, and then put clean bedding back into your habitats. And that is just a monthly deep cleaning that you will always have to do, and you guys should remember to do it monthly. Write it on your calendars. It's very simple and easy. Next, it is quality time. So typically you don't have to spend any more than 30 minutes with your hamster. It's not a dog. It doesn't need to be handled all the time. So I say 10 minimum, 30 max. However, you could probably do a little bit more than 30 minutes, and you can take your hamster out of its cage and play with it, free roaming while supervising it, or you can put it in an exercise ball, depending on if you live in the United States and or places that use exercise balls. Germany does not. And there's also you interacting with your hamster within its cage by moving things around, by giving it treats from your hand, by just handling your hamster or petting it within its cage. Make sure, however, your hamster is not cage aggressive. Dwarfs tend to be more cage aggressive than Syrians, so just keep that in mind if you guys are a little bit confused by why your hamster doesn't want to interact with you. Sometimes putting your hand inside a cage is a big no-no. So depending on your hamster, please do not do that. Or if your hamster is peaceful and okay with you doing that, that's totally fine. Now the monthly costs. You will need to replace your bedding every month, so that is a big thing, which can land you anywhere from $8 to $20, depending on the size of your enclosure. This right here is a 50-gallon bin, and unfortunately I have to get the biggest KT to put all of that bedding in here for my Hammy Sahara. So if your cage is a little bit smaller than that, you probably don't need the biggest size bag of whatever you're getting, and it's always good to buy the bigger one just because sometimes you might have leftover bedding and it's for a better price than the smaller bags. Then there is the cost of food. Now food can range anywhere from about $6 to about $14. And for food, you really don't need to replace it but every maybe couple months, but definitely replace it when it runs out. As well as chew toys. Chew toys can be anywhere from a couple bucks to about $8 or more, depending on where you're purchasing your chews from. If you go the Etsy route, it might be more expensive, but if you choose to go to a big chain pet store, they tend to be a lot lower in cost. And don't forget about fruits and veggies and treats. Treats tend to be a bit of a price tag at some pet stores, and they can range anywhere from $4 all the way up to $10, which is pretty pricey, but I guess it depends on the brand and make and how much is in the bag. As well as fruits and vegetables just from your local store, they can range anywhere from a couple cents all the way up to maybe $6. I like to get the big bag of mixed vegetables, and usually that only lands me about $3 to $4. Now, if you think all of that was easy and you're able to take care of a hamster, let me show you a few cons, and these cons kind of tie in together. The first con is what happens if your hamster becomes ill and needs vet attention. There might not be any exotic vets around that will see a hamster, so that is a big problem that a lot of hamster owners have come to notice. There's not enough, and or you have to travel really far, so that is a big downside. And 2, the vet bills for hamsters are exceptionally high, so you can just go to a vet and the vet might say, oh, in order for me to see your hamster, that's going to be about $80. right then and there, just for a hamster. Might even be more than a cat or a dog. So keep that in mind, as well as if you are a child that is owning a hamster or wants to own a hamster, just make sure your parents also understand how to take care of a hamster, because it's also their responsibility. So parents, if you're listening out there, make sure that you know what your child is getting into, make sure your child is responsible enough, and unfortunately, if your child doesn't hold up their end of the deal, you would be responsible to take care of the hamster and or to find the hamster a better home. So just know what you're getting into first, parents, before giving your child a pet. So sorry children out there if you're like, oh, but mommy, I really want one. Just make sure you are responsible enough, and for parents to know that they will probably be the ones paying for it if you yourself do not have any sort of income. So please parents, make sure you know what your hamster needs first before investing in a hamster. And if you're purchasing a hamster, there is the one-time deal of buying a cage, which cages could be anywhere from $30 to $100 or more depending on the size. I would highly recommend nobody buy KT Critter Trails. I know that ends up being the #1 go-to in pet stores because that's all that's available, but there are plenty of bigger cages online, especially on Amazon, that are way bigger. Right now, the pet community in the United States is advocating for 450 square inches or more, but if you're getting a Syrian, I would highly recommend at least 600 square inches just from owning Syrians and the experience with owning and caring for Syrians. So keep that in mind, guys, as well as please always do your research before getting a pet, and I hope that when you do get a pet that you'll love and take care of it for a very long time. Hamsters, depending on what species, can live 1 to 3 years, so it may be short, but hey, at least you have a good life with your little hammy, and I hope you enjoy it, because I enjoy my hamsters all the time, as well as my new foster hamsters that come in and out of my life and finding good homes for them. So thanks guys for everything. If you liked the video, hit like to show your support, comment down below with anything you like to say and or questions you have for me, and subscribe if you like to see more content from me, as well as becoming a part of my Munchkin family. So thanks guys, and I hope to see you in another video in the near future. Bye bye!